Every business is successful exactly to the extent that it does something others cannot. Peter Thiel. Welcome to the Stitch for Success podcast. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, daughter, entrepreneur, friend, and lifelong learner. I have a love and passion for all things small business. If you are a budding entrepreneur thinking about starting your own business, or if you have been running your business for a few years, I want to help you. Every week, my goal is to bring you tips, thoughts, inspirations, and education to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. Thanks for joining me today. We are covering another Business 101 lesson today. I hope you have had an opportunity to listen to previous episodes, and I hope that they have been valuable to you. Today's question during this Business 101 lesson is, what differentiates you from your competition? Also known as your differentiating factor. Let me quickly give you the formal definition. A differentiating factor is the part of a scenario that determines its uniqueness from other scenarios. So how do you determine yours? Specifically, your uniqueness in business. We're going to help you determine your differentiating factor today, because when you know your differentiating factor, this will help you know how to market your product or service to your potential customer. This is very important so you can get business in the door. So first, let's go back and take a look at your SWOT analysis. We discussed this in episode 14, so if you haven't had an opportunity to listen to that, I do advise that you go back and listen to episode 14 and complete your SWOT analysis before moving on in this particular episode. If you have done this, you have a box that has your strengths in it, and that is the box we're going to focus on today. I want you to specifically look at that box and look at one of the characteristics that you wrote under strengths in that box. Which one separates you most from the rest of your competition? This is something that adds value to your customer that no one else offers, or they don't offer as well as you do. What is that one thing? 2, of this one strength that you have selected, do you think it's the most valuable to your customer? Is it what makes your customer come to you over a competitor? Also, take a moment to ask yourself, when a customer does go to a competitor, why? Why would they do that? Why would they pick a competitor over you? Once you have that one thing that is a strength, that is better than you're better at than your competition, it separates you from your competition, and it's the reason why your customer comes to you over someone else, then you want to ask yourself, can I build a story around this difference? And if I look at this from our business, when we initially started Stuff for Greeks, we wanted to create jackets that told a story that was unique for each person that bought one. So we knew we wanted that to be our differentiating factor. It was our differentiating factor because at the time, most people kept things very simple on their jackets. Most people just got their numbers, or they got an emblem that represented their organization, such as a ivy or a rose or something like that. They kept it very simple. But we wanted our jackets to tell a story. So for years, our tagline was, you dream it, we design it. Our strength was creating custom designs. So for the most part, what anyone could dream, we could make. And if we didn't know how to make it, we went as far as to figure out how can we make this happen for the customer, because we wanted to make their dream come true. Another great example of this is Apple. I'm a fan of Apple. I have an iPhone. I have an iPad. I am a huge fan. But if you look at Apple, their marketing has changed quite a bit over the years, and we spent a lot of time in my marketing classes studying Apple in the past. And for a long time, their ads were very convoluted. They gave a lot of information about what was in their computer, what they provided They want it to be a great computer for artists, and they wanted to communicate that. But it wasn't always clear. It wasn't always to the point. And now Apple keeps it very simple. They know what their differentiating factor is. Steve Jobs wanted things to be simple. He wanted, and they wanted things to be easy. So a recent ad that I saw, just very simple ad with not a lot going on the ad, said, "Life is easier on iPhone." That was it. Another ad from Apple that stands out to me, and this is actually a commercial. The first ad I mentioned was a print ad, but it's a commercial. It's a young man. He looks extremely bored as he travels to his grandparents' house with his family. But throughout the day, he's like snapping pictures and doing really different things, but he's kind of in the background, just snapping pictures of his family and putting it all together. And at the end, he pops in, he attaches his phone to something, and he shows this movie of the family getting together and all these different memories from that day. And it just showed how easy it was to use that phone. And it's been the same for the past at least 10, 15 years with Apple products. They've kept it very simple, and their ads convey that. Their ads also convey emotion with that simplicity. And that stands out to me in their advertising and their marketing. And that's what you want to do. You want that factor to be something that sets you apart and that can be communicated and a story told very easily to your customer. Our current tagline for our store is, we actually have two, but we use one more than the other. One is, "We're like a tattoo shop for your clothes." That communicates simply and tells people what they can do. They can get something on pretty much any piece of clothing. And if you go to a tattoo shop, you can pretty much pick out a piece of art and get it put on your body. And that's what we do, but we do it for clothes. And then our second tagline is, "Wear your passion on your fashion." And that's because people are passionate about things. They want to show what they're a part of. And those are the things that they love. If they're an artist, they want to show their artwork. Or if they're in an organization, they want to show pride in that organization. So those are just two of our taglines. Those are things that, yeah, people can get it done other places, but we add a level of creativity to it that a lot of companies don't really even want to do because it's very time consuming. And it does require a lot of work and a lot of design skills. But that is what separates us from a large majority of our competition. So that's what you want to get to. You want to get to a point where you know how you're different, and you want to be able to easily communicate that to your customer. Now, there's one thing that you never, ever want to compete on as you're determining what your differentiating factor is. And I mentioned this in a previous episode, but it would behoove me if I don't bring it up here. You do not want to make your differentiating factor price. Price, if you are competing on price, if you're making that your differentiating factor, it is the fastest way to the bottom. Now, mind you, there are some companies that have done very well at this. Walmart, we know they are the low price leader, and they've done very well with that. But if you look at Target, or Target, as some people like to say, they don't compete on price. That is not their thing. They are all about aesthetics and things having a certain look to them. If you even compare Walmart and Target stores, they look different. One, the lanes are wider and the floor is white versus brown. And so you look at that, and they have made their segment, their differentiation quite different. And you want to make sure that your top priority is not competing on price, because it's the fastest way to the bottom. We often get feedback in our stores. I shouldn't say often. We do get feedback in our stores sometimes, though, that refers to us being fairly expensive. But what I like to explain to customers is, one, we're not the Walmart of custom embroidered apparel. Think of us as more the Nordstrom. You're going to be able to get what you want, the way you want it. You can even get it within a certain time frame you want it. Maybe a little bit more expensive, but you can do that. And we have and focus on our superior quality and our really unlimited creativity. And there's just some companies that, yes, they're less, but they're only going to let you go so far with your creative thoughts and things on random places on a garment. They're just not doing that. They're doing a left chest polo and that's it. We aren't putting anything else anywhere else. And we actually get extremely excited to put things in weird places and weird designs in weird places. And that's exciting and fun for us. So we like being able to offer that to our customer. And yes, we're not the lowest price, but we are going to deliver the best product. And for those of our customers who get us, they love us. I just had a customer in the store today and he said, I won't even tell people where I get my stuff because it's unique to me. And of course, I'm like, sure, you need to tell people about us. But he loves the creative and the quality, or the creativity and the quality that we bring to the things that he wants to bring to life, the passion that he has. So you don't want to make your differentiating factor price or cost, because that can really hurt you in the long run. You will put yourself out of business. So be careful with that one. But hopefully I've given you something to work with in figuring out your differentiating factor, figuring out how to market your product or service and tell that story that is uniquely yours. So you guys, over the next few days, I've got to sit down and really give some thought to a 10-year, 5-year, and 1-year plan for our business and for my life. We are actually meeting with a business coach, and I've got to figure this out. But I keep getting stuck on this 10-year plan because right now I keep thinking my daughter will be 20 years old 10 years from now. And it's hard for me to kind of get past that marker to actually think about, okay, well, what do I want my business and my life to look like 10 years from now? But I will let you all know how it goes. And hopefully I can share a little bit of this with you next week on how our business coaching first session went and what I came up with for our 1, 5, and 10-year plan. So I'll be talking back to you about that in the near future. As always, thank you so much for joining me on the Stitched for Success podcast. If you have not already, please follow me on Instagram at Stitched for Success. That's stitched with an ED on the end for success. Each morning I post an inspirational quote to get your day going and off to a great start. I would love if you would subscribe and rate this podcast. Also, please share it with a friend. If you have any questions or thoughts, please direct message me via Instagram. Always a pleasure to have you listen in. Have a great one.